In this video, we'll show you the strategy to follow to secure a series of interviews without the risk of rejection based on trivial or nonsensical reasons. This starts with the initial interview meeting with the recruiter, where you should first negotiate a 1-month postponement and then address concerns about the impact of bootcamps on IT companies worldwide. How? Follow our step-by-step flowchart. It's crucial that you record all meetings and interviews, as we demonstrated in the previous video. Step 1. Meet the recruiter. You should ask to postpone your interview for a month or more because you watched the video 60% in Class 12 to Cracking Google and Amazon by Riddhi Dutta, where he recommended taking that time to complete all the free LeetCode exercises to be fully prepared for the interview. You should argue that it's preferable for both of you and the recruiter to postpone the test for a month and do exceptionally well rather than being rejected and having to wait 6 months to try again. We know this isn't ideal for the recruiter, but they can't say anything to you, so in 90% of cases, he'll grant the postponement. Now, before the meeting ends, ask them to give you a date for the next meeting with him or the interview appointment. Step 2. Request another postponement. You must request another postponement. It's very important that you do so. If you have an interview scheduled, request a meeting with the recruiter before the interview and tell them you're very worried and are requesting another postponement. Doing it in writing won't have the same effect and could block you for a long time if they don't meet with you. But if the meeting does happen, ask for more time, which they will almost certainly refuse. Since many people are doing the same thing, the recruiter has no way to justify hiring candidates from bootcamps. They need you and the others to fill the rejection list, which already needs 100 rejected applicants from each admitted bootcamp student. We already know that they will refuse it. Step 3. Show them your concerns about not receiving fair treatment during the interview. If you don't express your fear, they will proceed with the interview plan, where it's already decided that you will be rejected no matter what, regardless of your performance. That's why it's important to show them your fear that they may have already decided to reject you and to follow the instructions in the next step. Step 4. Show them our US code channel. If you don't show it, the recruiter will try to tell you not to worry and will continue with the plan where you'll be rejected no matter what you do. But if you show them our channel or tell them that we accuse them of having already decided to reject you after the interview, even if you do perfectly, the recruiter will be offended but will fear losing their job. We'll be your perfect shield, and our reports will be the weapons that make the recruiter fear for their job and the income they rely on to support their family if they don't reverse your premeditated rejection. Why? Because when they see our videos, they'll know we figured it out, and they'll have no choice but to add you to the bootcamp group to ensure you receive the same treatment they do. Step 5. Record the meeting and interviews. This step is very important. If you record every meeting and interview, you'll protect yourself from being unfairly rejected. However, if you are unfairly rejected, you'll have the right to claim unfair treatment in any lawsuit against both the recruiters and the interviews. It's nearly impossible to win a lawsuit against large companies, but suing each individual employee involved is a different story. The company won't protect them, and judges in each lawsuit will rule that the actions of each individual employee cannot be considered and that the process must be repeated. We know this last point requires careful consideration and isn't as simple as it sounds, but it works. Watch our full video where we explain everything in detail. We already explained how to record in the previous video. It's quite possible that recruiters will ask you to use a headset with a microphone, claiming that not using one will disqualify you or make it difficult to communicate with you. However, if you tell them you don't have the money to buy new ones, they'll have to continue because otherwise they're violating your right to a fair interview, despite not having an item that isn't listed in the job description and isn't legally required for interviews. It would be discriminatory to stop you from continuing the process because you're not using a headset, and it would violate your personal rights. If you don't record the interview and don't make them feel like you're recording them, they might conduct biased interviews with the intention of rejecting you no matter what. Step 6. Invoke the Fifth Amendment to the United States Constitution. The recruiter and interview may not ask if you are recording them, but if they do, you should invoke the Fifth Amendment to the United States Constitution. Denying it will invalidate the recording should you need to use it in court. If you claim you are recording, they will tell you there is a document you signed agreeing to company policies that supposedly prohibit it. Most companies say this, but such a policy doesn't exist because it would violate your rights. Since they are recording all your meetings and interviews, you have the right to do the same. If a policy did exist prohibiting you from recording meetings, even though they are doing it, you can invalidate it in any court by arguing that you signed the agreement under duress, knowing that this specific policy violates your civil rights. But the company forced you to do it in order to be eligible for a job that will get you out of the unemployment you're in. As we've already mentioned, suing a giant corporation is extremely difficult, but suing an employee who, acting on their own initiative, violated your rights to block your candidacy for any reason is against the law, and the lawsuit will likely proceed in your favor. The employee would have to pay you damages for blocking you or abruptly ending the process without evidence of any serious wrongdoing. If you invoke the Fifth Amendment to the United States Constitution, even if the employee of the company interviewing you suspects wrongdoing, they will have no proof and cannot block you, even if you were to use the recording to expose them later. By the time they ask if you're recording, they will have no evidence, and mere suspicion is not enough for them to take action against you. This way, you leave everyone involved in your recruitment process defenseless. If they conduct interviews with overly complex exercises for the allotted time, it's a problem for them because they won't be able to prove in court that all candidates were evaluated with the same exercise. They'll have to prove it. They'll have to show that other candidates passed the evaluation implementing the correct code for the same overly complex exercise that you did, and the company won't allow them to present all the interviews of all the candidates evaluated in the same month in court. If really exists someone that performed a perfect interview with that exercise in such a short time. Therefore, if you can get a university professor to testify in your favor and reveal how long it took them and how long it took a group of students to complete the same exercise, the interview will be in serious trouble. That's why you should ask each interview for their full name, position, and the office they're assigned to for each interview. Step 7. The recruiter will add you to the Bootcamp candidate pool. From this point on, the recruiter will add you to the Bootcamp group so you can be interviewed at the same level of difficulty as those already accepted before the process even began. Their only advantage over you is that they already have the solution to the exercise, and you don't. However, if you perform better than them, the interviews can't reject you simply because you didn't use the code the Bootcamp already wrote. The recruiter will review the entire interview, and even if they don't understand the code you wrote, if it's clear that your code executes everything correctly, they will modify the interview's report to reflect the experience of those who were accepted, changing only your name. Because they'll be afraid that if you did a good job, you'll sue each and every one of them and give us the videos so we can expose them for you. But only if you did a good job in the interview. Because if you didn't, the only unfair thing will be that many will be hired because they already knew the answer by heart, but you won't be able to prove it. In other words, they'll hire you based on cohesion if and only if you did well, but they'll do it because they themselves know they're doing things wrong and don't want legal trouble. So, by implementing this method step by step, the only thing your hiring will depend on is your own performance. You'll no longer have to deal with being rejected before the recruitment process even begins. You've been rejected without real justification, so they could hire someone completely incapable of doing your job and who only paid a bribe to a bootcamp. Remember, we don't deserve to be rejected if we perform well, only to have the position filled by someone who took a 4-month course and knows nothing about the realities of working in computer science. If we unite, bootcamps will lose many of the jobs they're currently taking from us. Don't forget to like and subscribe to our channel. This also helps more software engineers understand what's happening today. Remember, by sharing this video and the next one on your social networks, we can all work together to beat the bootcamps in 2026.